Okay, we are on Yud Beis Amud Aleph, a long daf. Um, with stuff that's negaya on Amud Beis, a lot of stuff that's negaya, not stuff, Gemaras, negaya to Mazel and the New Year and Rosh Hashanah and that type of thing. Okay, so let's see. So we're talking about Shemin HaMishcha. So we said that you really need the only kohen, the kohen gadol, that has to bring the special karbanos is the kohen who was anointed. Kohen Meruv Megadim is not he doesn't have these special halachas. Right? So now the Gemara Stam talking about, that's how we got into whole Shemin HaMishcha. So now the Gemara Stam talking about Shemin HaMishcha. Right? So it says,
and the kohen that replaces him if he gets tummy is a kohen that's anointed.
what?
The kohen that replaces him is a kohen. We said that the kohen yesterday or 2 days ago that if he gets tummy, the kohen gadol, he gets another kohen that replaces him.
Right.
Until he is that a kohen? The kohen that replaces him, what level kohen is he? A kohen meshucha? He's anointed also with oil.
No, back then, yes.
Back then, that's what I'm asking. Back then,
I'm assuming they anointed
They used
him.
the oil till they were going to it.
You couldn't do the service without being anointed.
Okay. No. Okay.
You can't do the service of the Kohen unless you're anointed.
Right. That's a. Okay, so let's see. So we have a Shemin HaMishcha. Did they really have the Shemin HaMishcha? All right, Vatanya, we learned in the price. So Mishenignas Aron, Nignas Shemin HaMishcha, right? Once the Aron was hidden, right? Which is a machlokes unto itself, whether it was or not. But Nignas, so once the Aron was hidden, Nignas Shemin HaMishcha, the Shemin HaMishcha was hidden in Senes Haman and the mun, the jar of mun, that was also put away. Umakli shal Aaron shkadeo procher, and Aaron's stick, and the shkedim and the procher, the almonds and the flowers that were on it. Right? Maybe that had the whole story in Chumash when that's when it grew all the flowers and the nuts. So that showed that there was a kapara. What are you saying?
So what's the Gemara saying?
The Gemara is asking that all these things were hidden. So
until they were hidden, they used them. What's the?
No, because Yahayachas, it seems like Yahayachas.
Oh, that I don't know.
Yeah, right. So it's got Rashi's. Neither do I. But I'm just reading the Rashi, right? Rashi says in Yahayachas in days they used it. What? So Gemara is saying, what do you mean in Yahayachas days they used it? They hid it way. They hid it way before then. Right. So V'argash Shokol Plishtim Duran Yisrael, and also the box that the Plishtim sent a present to Klal Yisrael Shenemar, Ves Klei Hazov Asher Hashivosim Loi Osham, and the clay Hazov that they sent back as an Osham to Simu Ba'argas. The Argas Mitzida, put it in the box on its side, on the side of it, and send it to him and go. All right. So the assumption is that was also hidden. And who Ganzu, and who did the hiding? Yeshayahu Melech Yehuda Ganzu. Yeshayahu Melech Yehuda is the one that hid it. Shara Shakasab Torah, because he saw it said in the Torah, Yoilech Hashem Oislaves Malkacha. Hashem will lead you and your kings. So therefore what? Meaning the story goes, so that's when Yeshayahu started rebuilding the Beis Hamikdash. They found a Sefer Torah that was hidden from years before, right? And that Sefer Torah was opened up to the end of the Sefer Torah. It was rolled to the end, right? So they took that as a siman that there's bad news coming. So they hid all this. So Tziva Vegonza, and they commanded and they hid them. Shenemar, And they said to the Leviim, right, who understand the Kedoshim Lashem, Tnu as Aron HaKodesh v'beis Shebana Shlomo ben David Melech Yisrael. Put it into the house that Shlomo Melech ben David Melech Yisrael. Okay, how to understand that is also a little confusing. You're not going to have to carry it on your shoulder. You should be Oived Hashem and His nation. Okay.
Is that a source? Oh, sorry.
You go ahead.
No, I was saying, is that a source for like some type of omens? Like they looked into omens?
They certainly. We get this. Yes. Wait till Lamed Beis, Chacham. Wait till Lamed Beis.
Yeah, they were all Svardim. There was no Polacks over there with Litviks. All Svardim.
Bring my notebook for this stuff.
Yeah, you should.
Said, you know,
Yeah, but so let's see. If I'm Rabbi Lazar, Asya, we learn out we learn out that the Gezerah Shava that the mun was included as Sham, and Asya Mishmeres another Gezerah Shava. That's where we learn out the iron stick. Asya Doris, and for the Shemana Mish we learn a Doris. So whatever it is, so what were they using in the days of Yehoyachas to do the Meshicha? We had this, the Gemara referred to this from yesterday's daf. It's talking about they used balsam oil. They didn't use the Shemana Mishka. Right? So I again, I don't understand what this means exactly. So I mean, it was imitation, right? It was off-brand. I don't know, store brand. It was store brand oil that they used, right? So does that count? I'm saying, should they have used baby oil?
Wasn't this just to prove that to help his claim to the throne? It's not like they were actually trying to accomplish much here. So it was just symbolic.
What do you mean? It's symbolic. So then it means. So what was the point of it? Just to show that it was because it was a machlaikis.
That's what symbolism is. It's just meant to give a little more credence to his claim, I thought. That was the same thing with what was it? Yehu.
I don't know. So I'm saying, so what was the point? I'm not sure. Okay, whatever it is. So but that was the oil that they did it for. You're right, probably. You're probably right that it's not. They did it as symbolic to show. By the way, this is the legit kayan because it was machlokes. Okay, tell her about it. It wasn't
the kayan. It wasn't the kayan. It was the king.
The king. That's what I mean.
The king. The kayan wouldn't work. The kayan wouldn't work. It's meaningless. Like we're saying, it is actually meaningless. There's no kedusha.
No, but the king. No, but the king. You're right. I'm sorry. I kept saying kayan. It was the king, but you're right. But the kings also were anointed.
Only David was anointed for real.
Right. So they were also supposed to be anointed.
But David was the only one whose anointment really mattered.
I understand, but how did they anoint kings after the oil? What did they do? Do we know? Did we see anything about that?
It was meaningless. It was all symbol and symbolic.
So how did they anoint the king?
Most of them they didn't. Right? Most of them they didn't. They only had to do these couple where there was a contending on the,
I hear.
It was more than a couple were contending.
I think we had 3. It is more than a couple. 3.
That
they had a fight over. You had Yehu, you had Shlomo, and you had what is it, Yehochaz or whatever.
I hear. I don't know enough history, so I don't know any history.
This was the Amud from yesterday. This is not history.
That's history, my friend.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Okay, Torah.
No, but yesterday's daf didn't say that. Yesterday's daf said they anointed all kings except for Ben Achaben. And the only 3 Ben Achabens were those 3.
Again, but it was only Malchay based David they anointed also. So at the Hachi V'Hachi, it was just David and then all his Ben Achar Bens, and then there were exceptions of 3 who they had to. Maybe there was
Yeah,
a
but it
fourth. There
said
was
that the
one.
non-Ben Achabens were anointed.
Who were the non Ben Achar Bens?
Hashmi
Malchei
Nadim.
Yisrael.
There was
Or the Malch, you think about, but then Yehu also should have gotten. Yehu was also not a Ben Achar Ben of Malchay Yisrael. I think the Malchay Yisrael didn't count.
Yeah, he was the Ben Achaben of Malchabes David, no?
I thought Yehu was taking over from Achav's line and Malchay Yisrael.
Ah.
Let me. I could try to pull up 11b.
No, but I don't know. I don't know if Shur said that. It said that in the Gemara.
Yeah, the Gemara said that. Yeah, I think he's right.
I think you have to ask Shmuel Sugar.
It's true.
Tomorrow when he listens, he still listens, right?
I don't know. I don't know.
I guess maybe now we'll find out if he listens.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so Tana Rabbana. Let's see. Right. The Ketzad Moishchanes and Malachim. How did they do the anointing? Kimin Nezer. So they put it on him like a crown. Right? Meaning they took the oil, they took the finger, and they put the finger all the way around. That's a koyanim. And what about the koyanim? That's the way they did the kings and koyanim. Kimin ki or kai. They did it like a kai. My kimin kai. Amar Rabanashi Bargada. Kimin kaf yivani. They did it like a kaf yivani, like an endach. What we call an endach of.
there you go, see Yaakov, to continue. It's continued, you know.
What with the? Well,
There's
here
there's no Hebrew letters. You got 22 letters with end of letters. There's no letters they could do except what the maximum Greeks did.
Yeah, why can't they say Endachaf?
I don't know.
They keep
Why
up their
can't they say
streak.
Endachaf instead of Chaf of Yvonne?
Because they keep up their streak.
They want to see if you're paying attention, Aaron.
That's right.
Um.
Let's give me some agita.
Well, the question is, where the names of the
Which
letters,
is an Italian word, by the way.
And it worked. It worked again.
That's right.
saying where did the letters come from? Kaf Yavani, was that whole letter taken? That we call it a kaf. Is that from the Yavanim? Is that from the Yavanim also? Alpha, Beta, I don't know. Maybe the whole thing is maybe.
No, because the Gemara in Shabbos, right? Aleph Beis, Alpha Bina.
Right.
We have names, so it's not the Kaf from Yivani.
I don't know. Not sure. You don't know which way it went. So I don't know which came first. Okay, weiter. Satani Chado. So we learned by the Kohen Gadol of Etchila Moitzkin Shemen al Rosh. First, they pour oil on the Kohen's head. Then they will put the eyes in between his eyelids. Right? And then they take the oil and then they make the endachaf across the top of his head. Right? Meaning first they put it on his head, then they put it between his eyes, then they pull the oil up over the top of his head. That's one brayse. First they put the oil between his eyes, and then they put it on his head. So it's a stira. Which way does it go first? So my answer is Tanoi. Some say that the anointing is first, and some say that the pouring is first. My time the Madam Yitzika Adifa. What's the reason why Yitzika would be better? The Siva Yitzak Mishemen on Mishcha Rosh Aaron V'Yimsha Chayse Lekacha. It says the pasuk says Yitzak first. Right? Umandam Mashicha Adifa. My timer because some can ata mutza moitza eitzel klishares, because that's what you find by the klishares. By klishares, there's Mashicha and there's no Yitzika at all. So I asked, but it says, and then he poured, and then he anointed. So how do you understand that pasuk? My tam v'yitzak. What's the reason for the v'yitzak? Mishum daviyimsha, because he anointed him. All right, fine. Torabanan kesheman atoyv yered al zakon zekan Aaron. This is a very interesting thing here. So it says, right, that the oil that runs, that's yored al zakon, that runs down on the beard of Zakan Aaron. So you say, "Kaminchnei tipe margolius hayatluius la'aron beziknoi." There were 2 drops of like pearls of oil that were hanging in the beard of Aaron. Right? Samar Rapapa said, "Tana kishu masapa." When Aaron would talk, oilers for Yoshua like ikra these drips of oil would go up, and they would sit in they would go, meaning they would move and always go to the base of where the hair hit the chin. And Moshe was very worried about this. Maybe perhaps that I was over on Me'ilah B'Shem Amishcha. So, meaning because he's afraid that when Moshe Rabbeinu was dressing Aaron HaKohen, then maybe he's gonna touch it, and then he's gonna be using the shemen. Yotza Baskal V'Arma Kishemen Atoiv. That's what the pasuk was saying. Kishemen Atoiv Yored Al Zakan Aaron. Ketal Chermon. Matal, like the dew of the Chermon. Matal Chermon ain't by Me'ilah. Just like the Tal of Chermon, there's no Me'ilah. Av Shemen Amishcha Shebezakan Aaron ain't by Me'ilah. There's no Me'ilah. But I know Aaron Daig. But Aaron was still worried. Maybe Moshe wasn't over Me'ilah. Maybe I was over on Me'ilah. Yotza Baskal V'Amra Loi, and went out to Baskal and said to him, Hine Matoiv Manoim Sheves Achim Gam Yochad. How beautiful and pleasant it is that brothers sit together. Ma Moshe Loi Mol, Af Ata Loi Malta. Just like Moshe Rabbeinu wasn't over on it, Issa. So too you weren't over on it, Issa. Right? Okay, an interesting about it. Here we start with I thought it was Amud Beis, it's Amud Aleph. Here we start. This is for the Sfardim amongst us, and for the Litvish amongst us, a little bit difficult to understand this Gemara. But this is the time of year that this Gemara is Nageya. So you only anoint kings by water, by running water. They should timshach malchusam, so that it should be a siman that their malchus will continue. Take for yourself the avodim of your master, and take them down to Gichon. Gichon was a body of water that flowed. So you see that you do the anointing next to the water, so it should be a siman toiv. All right. Now let's just continue weiter and understand this. Somebody wants to shatei. I'm sorry, Eloi. If a person wants to know if he's going to live out the year or not. Now, why is this not what the issue that we had in the parsha a couple of weeks ago of that you're looking to? What's the pasuk? Not to look to the what is it called? To me, Tamim Tiem Hashem Elekechem. It's unclear. But if a guy wants somebody to live out the year, so Nitli Sharga Ba'asari Yami Deben Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippurim. What he should do is he should hang up a light, a fire, in between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Right? That's a little shver. What do you mean the 10 days in between? There's only 7 days between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Okay, but basically the loy nashav zikah, because you got to put it where there's no wind whatsoever, sort of like in a what do
you can light a fire technically on Rosh Hashanah.
There's nothing to do with that. Just saying the 10 days between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur.
Well, we always say
When Rosh Hashanah starts, right? When Rosh Hashanah starts till Yom Kippur.
The 10 days between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur.
Okay, fine.
It shouldn't say. It should say the 10 days from Rosh Hashanah to Yom Kippur.
Fine.
That's
fine.
Right. So anyway, so light it. It's l'chari. You're right. You do have to light on Rosh Hashanah, right? The base of the loy nashav zika, you have to put it in a house where there's no wind, meaning it's a sealed room. If it keeps going, right? So then it's unclear what that means exactly. It's a miracle. Meaning it's like the Ner Chanukah that lasted 7 days.
Why is it? I don't understand. Why is it a miracle? I light a 10-day candle, and if it goes out, then it's a problem. Or 7-day candle, however you want to touch it. And if it goes out, it's a problem for you. And if it doesn't go out, it's not a problem for you.
I see in the article here it says that if the lamp's flame is steady and does not flicker is another.
That's one shot, right? So Rashi says that it stays lit. So David, you're saying it like a litvak, that you light a 7-day candle. If it stays lit, even though that's l'chayra should be, right? I mean, according to nature, if you put in a 7-day candle, it should light for 7 days. Right? So you're saying, okay, so if it would, and if it went out, that means it's a bad sign for you. Right? Not shot that we're looking for a miracle. I think you're correct, but
I
I'm
mean,
not.
I'm not
I'm not
staring at the light all 7 days every second to see if it flickers or not, right?
No, I'm saying with according to Rashi's pshat, that pshat is that it just lights for 7
Right,
days.
the
Then
candle
there's
has
others.
to, it has to go for all days in between or one day in between.
It sounds like all the days.
You're just setting yourself up for Adra.
Why? You light it? People light a 7-day candle during Shiva. Does it go out?
Well, that's a real thing.
I don't know, but
I-
but if it goes out, you're going to be nervous the whole year.
Of course, you're going to be nervous.
You
Maybe
know?
that's why we don't do it.
Wait,
Well,
sorry,
what's that?
sorry to keep quoting the archway. It says over here to burn for so long as the oil remains in the lamp, meaning that it lasts as long as the oil's there. That it didn't go out early. Sometimes the flames just go out by themselves before the oil runs out.
So
You're saying
that could be a problem, and then you'd have a tough year,
exactly.
right? You'd have a tough time.
Yeah, that's what it's saying. Yeah.
Yeah, correct. That's the danger in it. Maybe that's why we don't do it.
I'm done with
This is
Yartzeit candles.
No, it is a simon of what was already decided. Rosh Hashanah. It's not a. I can't change anything.
What's that? The Lashon and Rashi, right? The Lashon of Rashi is Shedoyle Kozman Shahashemen Besoichai.
Mm.
That means if somehow it spilled the oil and then it goes out, that's not a bad sign, right? Right? L'chayra. Anyways, whatever. Take it or leave it. Try it. What should I tell you? Try it if you want. Yeah. By the way, there's always tshuva. Even if it comes, even if you fail in your test, right? Can you do tshuva? L'chayra. I would think you could do tshuva, right? Otherwise, what are we doing salach lanu for Shemona Esrei after Yom Narayim? Okay, we could do the hashkafic kashas all night. But maybe we should till slichas. Anyways, so
I'm also saying slichas in the morning.
I hear you. Yeah. So
But that's longer for you to discuss Shkafa.
yeah. So imashal nura needed the masik shtia. Shase. If then you're gonna know you're gonna live out your life. Fine. Live out that year. Let's say you want to know if you're going to be successful in business. You want to know if you're going to be matzliach or not. So lirbi tarnagoila. So what you should do is you should bring up a tarnagol, a rooster, shaman, v'shapar. If it goes fatty and it looks good, matzlach, then you know you're going to be matzliach. Yeah, I'm on the boy lemefik laorcha. Somebody wants to go traveling. So back then, travel was dangerous. So you wanted to go on a business trip. You wanted to know if you're going to come back whole and healthy or not. So nekum bebesa the chavra. So what you should do is you should stand in a house that's dark. So if you see the shadow of the shadow, when you see two shadows, a strong one and a weak one, later the hod of asi and then you're going to know you're going to come back. But it's not. It's nothing. Meaning, don't do it. Dilma chalsha daite, because you're gonna have chalishas adas. And now this is a scary line here. Dilma chalsha daite. Maybe you're gonna have chalishas adas umisra mazle, and you're gonna have bad mazel. Right? Meaning, when you think we have this Gemara in brachas, when you think bad, then it could that puts you at a higher risk for it being bad. Right? Meaning, so what's better? To see this thing. See, that's what's interesting. Is he going on the trip or not?
So the candle we're not worried about going out. That's not going to distress you enough to change your mazel, or that's not going to distress you. We're not worried about that.
Because you don't have a choice.
We're more worried about it by the shadow.
I think you don't have a choice. The living out the year is living out the year. Here we're talking about. Right.
You should go on your trip or not.
You have the same
Correct.
thing by the mitzvah levia also. They say the same thing. If you don't do levia, then the guy doesn't have the extra chizuk from the levia, and it could cause him to not make it successfully. But if you do it, it's a segula for shmir on the way because of also the attitude.
No, I'm saying, is the guy going on the trip now or not?
He's going. But he wants to know if it'll be good or not.
Right. So now he's not going on the trip. So then what's the problem? Why is the Gemara saying don't do this?
I thought he's still going on the trip. He just wanted to know.
Why would you do that?
He doesn't have a choice.
What do you mean? So then why is that what the Gemara means? You mean you're going on the trip anyways? You have to go on the trip.
Yeah, you just want to know, is it going to be good or not?
I mean, it got to be a pretty major trip to go when you have an omen that tells you you're not coming back.
It's just an omen.
That's what I'm asking. So is that what it is? Can you change it?
I don't know. Svardim, it's like you can go to the rabbi, and he'll tell you something, but it's like if you don't like makabel, it doesn't matter. You just do what you know what I mean. These things are not set in stone. You're talking very spiritual stuff. It's like it's an omen. An omen is not written in stone. That's the same thing with the in between days. It has a bad omen, like you said. You could do tshuva still. Like the mazel changes always, so it's not a.
I don't know. So then you're not. So then I think that's what the Gemara means. If you're not going to listen to the omen, so then don't do it in the first place. Right? You know, we get into genetic testing. Should people do genetic testing or not? So many say, like, well, if you're not going to listen to the genetic testing, so then why bother? Right? I mean, genetic testing might even be stronger.
Even if you don't listen to the genetic testing, then you know and you can plan around things instead of having a kid that dies at 2.
Well, so some say that, but that if you just want to be aware of it, right? But you want to know what to daven for, right?
I think the biggest nakuda is Dilma Chalsha Daite. And that's like the worst thing that can happen to you at this point, while you're alive. Dilma Chalsha Daite. Chalisha Zadas is a terrible thing that you have to walk around with. Whether you don't know, but the Chalisha Zadas, that's a terrible thing.
Me too.
I thought it was saying Chalisha Sadas, meaning his trip is not going to go well because he has it in his mind that it's not going to go well.
I don't think so. Now I thought like you also, but now the Rachamim says it. Maybe Taka, you're gonna have Chalisha Zadas that you're not going on the trip because of this.
Oh.
I'm going on a trip tomorrow. My wife just brought in a chicken in the house.
All right.
Are those non sequiturs, or do they have to do with each other?
I don't know. I have no idea what the connection is. Anyways, a long marsha on this. All right. It's a long marsha. How do you understand this? Can it change? Can it not change? There's a lot of ashkaf on it, whatever it is. Of exactly how to do this. The easiest way to understand is that you could change your mazel with tefillah and davening, etc., etc. Seems like it. Okay. Now we get into major one.
That's the hakdama for the next line, right?
Well, it's a continuation, but yeah. Samar Abaya. Here we go. Yes. Yes. So Hashra the Amrit Simona Milsa. Now that you say that a simon is Milsa. All right. So now La'olam Yehi Rogel. Now there's important to be medayik in the Lashon here. La'olam Yehi Rogel Lemechse Berei Shata. a person should see in the beginning of the year. Right? Now, let's finish the sentence, we'll go back. Kara, Verubia, Karti, Silka, and Timri. Gourd, fenugreek, leek, beets, and dates.
That's
Right?
the list that we do in Rosh Hashanah.
Very
Right there.
good. That's Reish Shata. That is the list. Now, this is where it comes
There you
from.
go. Okay.
Yeah, it's not crazy. Of all the things that we do, this one at least is straight Gemara. Now, the thing is, our Gemara doesn't say eat it. The Lashon in our Gemara is lemechse, to see it. Right? As long as you have it on the table, it's fine. And now the Aruch.
You can't
the
put
Aruch,
food in front of a yid and not expect him to eat it.
nobody said you can't eat it.
Okay.
Right? But the Aruch's Lashon is that you should eat it.
You Naftali, what do you buy? Fenugreek pizza every week? What do you hack to your cup?
Yeah. So anyway, but again, if you just go with our Lashon, you just have to, because some of the stuff people like the head of the fish, people are how they call it, grossed out from it, that type of thing. Some of the Roshashi Libre. So Roshashi said there was some kibisu male and migmari kamei rabbi. Okay, so anyways, that's the end of that sugya. So whatever it is, you see from this Gemara, that there's such a thing that you're supposed to have things that are mazel. Now, why it has to do with fruits and vegetables, whatever it is, I don't know. Also, notice the Gemara doesn't say anything about Yiratzan. Doesn't say you should say Yiratzan. The Rishonim already bring that you say Yiratzan. That's what you get into. Should you say the Yiratzan with Hashem's name, not with Hashem's name? Do you say it second night? Some people say it second night without Hashem's name. And then, of course, you have the Magen Avraham, who says that you don't have to necessarily stick with these foods. You could stick with any food, any name that fits into having a good simon. You can work with.
I'm saying I should get the chocolate bar payday.
Yes, l'chara, yeah. I would.
Why not?
Is it milchiks?
Well, yeah, but you're not fleishik at that time.
I hear you. Got to just make sure you do it properly and halachically.
I'm just saying, theoretically, one could get.
I would think 100%. You know, everybody makes the raisin celery.
Raisin celery, yeah.
Right, everybody makes the raisin celery thing. L'chara, that sounds like a legitimate thing to do.
So you get the chocolate thing and don't eat it. Just look at it.
Right,
That's what I'm saying. You don't even need to eat it. You don't have to take it out of the packaging. You just
right,
put it
but
on the
I don't know if you should have it on the table. I don't know if you should have it on the table if it's milk.
Next to the fish head on the side table.
Maybe keep it on the
on the side table next to the fish head.
You can do that.
You mentioned the fish head, the Heintika Parsha we learned, the Nia LaRoche below Lizanov also.
Yes, it does. I was going to point that out.
It says a few
what
times,
about something that's like a little like okay, I used to say butter for a better year, but then I say maybe butter is like a bitter year, so then I stopped doing it. So I don't know.
Oh, I like that.
What's shot on the butter?
I don't know. I
don't know.
Learn how to speak the language, and you won't have the issue.
Revelia Lapin used to take a banana because in French, banane is good year.
Is that so?
Yeah.
Interesting. Now, it also doesn't say about eating sour and bitter foods, but then many have that custom also, right? Because you don't want to have a sour year, a bitter year.
So the teretz to that is you want to have a geschmacki year.
Yeah,
you want to have a taste year, then do that. If you want to have a geschmacki year, then yeah.
A lot of Sfarim won't eat walnuts because it has gematria of chet, I think.
That's not just Sfardim. That's one halacha, yeah.
Oh, is it?
That
one says.
I thought it was Ben Ish Chai. I don't know.
No, believe it or not, but that one Chacham we go with.
I didn't know that. Okay, gematrias, I didn't know. Okay.
Chacham, you know what the Kotzke said on that? He says chet is also gematria chet.
Oh. We don't hold to that one though.
Yeah. Anyways, okay, but the Gemara doesn't say that's not Medina the Gemara. Meaning, and I'm saying, unfortunately, there are those people. They poo-poo this whole Simon thing, and they say, bah, 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 bah. You know what I'm saying? This one has a Gemara to it. Everything else you want to say, okay, you'll have sour foods, have chrein, have whatever. Gesundheit, you don't want. But this one is a straight Gemara. So We shouldn't take it lightly. That's the point. Fine. Okay, Amal Ramashashi, Lebre. Ramashashi told his sons, Kibisu Mail and Migmari Kame Rabaichu. Also very interesting Gemara. When you want to go in front of your Rebbeim, Garsu Masnisa, Follow Kame Rabaichu. First learn and then go to your Rebbeim. Because then you'll be ahead of the game. Right? That's what we always say. You should at least learn the Masechta before the Zman. Or at least Mishnayos before this man. So at least you have Epis what to go with. Then another thing he said, when you sit in front of your Rebbe, you should look at his mouth. This is a sukkah. Now this is a sukkah sugi, right? Because people have pictures of the rabbis. And your eyes should see your Rebbeim. I don't know where this has to do with the mouth. Right? I didn't get the connection here exactly. Okay, v'chi garsisu, and when you're learning, garsu al nara demaya. This is, go sit by the ocean and learn. Sit by a river. The maya, the same way the water, goes. Mashchan shmait seichu, then your shmaitza would also go. Yeah, v'sevu akilkali de masamasia, and you should better to live by the garbage of matamasia. For life save apadani de Pumbedisa, instead of saying on the palaces of Pumbedisa. Meaning because but the Matamasia had a lot of Talmidei Chacham, so better to live in junky houses near Talmidei Chacham than to live in nice houses not near Talmidei Chacham. Right? Or you can go to Lakewood and do both. All right. I had to throw that in there. Yeah. Right, fine. Tav Gildan Osai.
You couldn't resist that, but
I could not.
That's probably because you come from a bungalow colony,
That could be. That could be. Yeah. Tav Gildan Osai the Masamasi Lamechel. Again, a continuation. It's better to eat this fish that's going to be bad. Mikutcha the Rami Kipi from the kutach, which is good food. That you can throw it on the rocks. Right? Meaning better to eat the small fish than the fancy dish, right? Because the kutach is full of junk. This is your classic. Rather eat bad food that's healthy than good food that's not healthy. Fine. Rama Karni Bashem. So this is Chana. This is a song of the Daf if Peretz is on.
He named October Manoim was the one before.
Oh, right, that's true. Right, I forgot about that.
This is the second one.
Yeah. Not easy to come by in Horayos, the songs of the Daf, right? So Rama Karni Bashem, right? So my Keren is lifted up by Hashem. Rama Karni v'loy Rama Pachi. It says my Keren and not my Pach, my jug. Right? David and Shlomo, when they were anointed with a Keren, Nimshecha Malchusan. They had a long Malchus. Shaul v'Yehu shenimshechu b'pach lo nimshechu malchusan. So you see that they did not have a good siman, and that's why, I don't know if that's why, but that was a siman. Again, you have the same question. What comes first, the chicken or the egg? Right? The siman caused it, or the siman was just like, oh, this is what is going to happen. Okay, Hamshur b'shem and Mishcha. So now we get back into a little bit regular Gemara. So we said that the Hamshur b'shem and Mishcha, right? So he's the one that he has the special korbanos. Tanabana Mashiach. So it says Mashiach, right? So the one that's anointed, Yochel Melech. So you would think that the king also, Tamalayim Kohen. So it says Kohen. He Kohen, Yochel Meruv Begadim. If it's a Kohen, you would think Meruv Begadim. Tamalayim Mashiach. That's what it says Mashiach. Mashiach, Yochel Mashuach Melchama. So you would think, so it's Mashuach Melchama. That there's nobody that was appointed that's on top of him. My mashma. So where do you see that the pasuk's talking about an anointed kohen? Kedama Rava hayerach hamiyumanis shebeyerach. When it says the yerach, the thigh, this is talking about Yaakov Avinu with the what do you call it? Gidanosha. So it's the, it literally means the right of the yerech. Right, the most right of the yerech. Hachanami hamashiach. So to here, when it says a Mashiach, hamayuman shebemeshuchim, the most chashuv of the meshuchim. Right, which means the kohen gadol, not the kohen mashuach, not the kohen that was anointed for war. Fine. Amar Mar Mashiach Yochel Melech. So it says Mashiach. So you think it's talking about the king, that he also needs the oil. Melech Paru Demaisi. So we say Melech. Um, he brings a par. Seir Hu Demaisi. It's a goat that he brings. Meaning meaning, I'm sorry, I read it, I said it wrong. Par Hu Demaisi. Seir Hu Demaisi. He's not bringing a par. He's bringing a seir. Right. So you don't need a pasuk to tell you not to bring a par. So what answer it's that if he did a maisa of shoygeg, then he brings a seir. Al helam davar yavi par, but if a helam davar, he should bring a par. Kamash malon. So that's what it tells us, that he never brings a par, even though he was mashuach. Fine. Ein b'mashuach b'shemen hamishcha. So we said there's no difference between a mashuach b'shemen hamishcha and Kayin who was his substitute, except for the power that you bring on Yom Kippur and Asira Seifa. So it says Masisa to like Rameir. Our Mishnah is actually not like Rameir. The Rameir Hatani Meruba Begadim maybe parabal Kala Mitzvahs. The Meruba Begadim Taka brings a par Habal on Kala Mitzvahs. The Rameir. Lahoidel Epachamim, and the Chachamim were not moided to him. My time of the Rameir. What is the reason, according to Rameir? Why does Rameir Taka disagree with our Mishnah? The Tani Mashiach ain't ela Mashuach b'shem and Mishcha. Meruv begadim inayin. How do you know Meruv begadim? Tamid loymar akayin Mashiach. All right, b'mayo kimta. So what are you gonna say, Rabbanon? It's like the Rabbanon on to Amid Beis now. Ema Seifa. Let's say the Seifa. All right, that is just a technical. We're saying that the mission is going according to Rabbanon Rameir, that holds that the only kohen that has the power is the kohen Mashuach, and Rameir holds that no, even the Meruba Begadim has it. So obviously the mission is not like Rameir. So what are you saying? It's like the Rabbanon. So then the Gemara is going to ask a kasha now, but the Seifa could only be according to Rameir. Same as Seifa. So let's say the Seifa ain't been kohen b'shamish the kohen sha'avar, that there's no difference between the kohen that's active and the kohen that was passed, elapar Yom Kippur Asira Seifa, except for the power of Yom Kippur and Asira Seifa. Right? So I saw the Rameir. That has to be like Rameir. Why? Titania, because we learned that the price say either by psul the kohen gadol va'avar. Let's say a psul happened to the kohen gadol, and he was over. They took him away. Uminu kohen achar tachtav, and then they appointed another kohen under him. Arishan chayzel avedasa. The first one goes back to his avodah. Vasheni kol mitzvahs kahuna alav, and the second one has all the mitzvahs kahuna. Divrei Rameir. That's Shitas Rameir. Right? Rabbi Yossi Omer. Rabbi Yossi says Rishon chayzel avedasa. The first guy goes back to his avodah. Vasheni eina roy loyla kohen gadol v'loyla kohen hedget. The second guy is now he's stuck in no man's land because he was a kohen gadol temporarily. What are you supposed to do with him? Right? You can't make him the kohen gadol because you knocked him down, and you can't put him into a regular kohen because ma'alim because shein maridin. Right? So he's in no man's land. Some Rabbi Yossi, Ma'isa b'Yosef ben Elim mitzipori. The story Yosef ben Elim from Tzipori. She'ira by psul b'kohen gadol, that it was a psul in the kohen gadol. Now some are geiris this and some are not geiris. V'avar uminu achar. Let's just read it. V'avar uminu achar tachtav, and they appointed somebody on them. V'lo yinichu. And then after that, they didn't let him be not a kohen gadol, not a kohen hedget. Why not? Kohen gadol mishum eva. They didn't let him be a kohen gadol because it's going to cause fights, right? Meaning the first kohen gadol, there's going to be competition. We don't want competition. Kohen hedget mishum ma'alim b'kodesh rein maridin. So you see that it has to be like Rameir, the Seifa. Right, because our Mishnah says that he does have kedusha, he just doesn't do the avodah in Yom Kippur, and he doesn't bring the carbon every day. But other than that, he's a kohen gadol. So the seif of the Mishnah has to be like Rameir. So Gemara says Reish Rabbanon v'Sefer Rameir. So you're going to say that the Reish is the Rabbanon and the Sefer is Rameir. So Amar Chista in Reish Rabbanon v'Sefer Rameir. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Rabbi Yosef Amar Rebbe. It's really Rebbe. V'Nosav la'aliba de Tanoi, and he's going with Machlokes Tanoim. Meaning, yeah, Rebbe decided that in one area is going to go like the Rabbanon, and one area is going to go like Rameir. Rav Amar, Reb Shimoni, it's Reb Shimon, v'Sava like Rameir b'chada, palakala b'chada. He holds like Rameir in one, and he disagrees with him with one. Tanya, Dvarim Shemein Kohen Gadol the Kohen Hedjed, Eluhem. The differences between the Kohen Gadol and the Kohen Hedjed are the following: Paraba al kol ha-mitzvahs. A par that comes on all the mitzvahs, par Yom Kippur, v'asiris ha'efa, and the par Yom Kippur and the siris ha'efa v'loy pereya, and he doesn't leave his hair long, v'loy peirim, and he doesn't tear his clothing. Aval hu peiris milamata, but he can tear his clothing on the bottom. V'hedjed milamala, but a hedjed, a regular kohen, tears on the top. Ve'en matava l'kroivim, and he does not become tummy to kroivim. U'muzar ala basula, and he has to be careful that he has to marry a basula. V'asar ba'almana, he's also an almana. Machzor is a retzeach, and he returns a retzeach, meaning he doesn't return, but the retzeach is if the murderers come back, u'makar v'einin, and he's makar the carbon as an einin, ve'ena oichel, but he can't eat it, ve'ena chaylik, and he doesn't get a piece of the karbanas either. Makriv chelik b'roish, and he takes the first because he's the kohen gadol, and chelik b'roish. I'm sorry, he brings the carbon first, and he also takes the first portion of mashamash b'shmoina kelim, and he works with the shmoina begadim. Cholav Yom Kippur ein kshera elaboy, and the whole dinner, the whole Yom Kippur is only kosher with him. With potter al tumas mikdash kedashav, and he's potter on tumas mikdash kedashav. Okay, so you see that he does have all the qualities of a kohen gadol. Fine. The kula noyeg and b'murmur begadim. Right, and this all noyeg, but b'murmur begadim. The people, the kohanim that are appointed with when they put on more clothing. Chutz mi para, maybe I'll call it mitzvahs, except for the par that's bought on all mitzvahs, which is like our Mishnah, not like Rameir. The kula noyeg and Mashiach sha'avar, and these are all noyeg with a kohen gadol who was anointed, who already was removed. Chutz mi par Yom Kippur masir sa'efa, except for the par of Yom Kippur and the sir sa'efa. The kulan ain't noyeg and Mashuach Mechama, and they're not noyeg with them Mashuach Mechama. Chutz me hey devarim amurim b'parsha, except for the 5 things that it says in the parsha, which are like pereya, he doesn't grow his hair long, like parim, he doesn't tear his clothing, he doesn't come tummy to the relatives, muzar al basula, and he's muzar al basula v'asa ba'amona, and he's also an amona. Umachzor has a retzeach, and he also has the retzeach go back, meaning he lets everybody out of golus when he dies. Say he does not allow people that killed b'shaygig to go back to their homes.
That was 6 things, not 5. It said chamish dvarim, yes.
Pereya Pairim, Tamar Lekroivim, Uzel Psula. Yeah, I think Mafsar Zaretzeach is a different, that's not part of the 5. Because those are not, that's not part of something that has to do with him. That's what I understand. That's an extra one. Right? Fine. Okay, so Gemara says, "V'hami ma'adu Reb Shimoni," and how do you know that this is Reb Shimon? So Amar Papa Man Shamas Leidomer Potter Al Tumas Mikdash Kedashav, because we know who's the one that says that this kohen is Potter on becoming Tameh. Reb Shimon. It's Reb Shimon. Fine. Chutz me'ed dvarim shamur b'parsha, except for the 5 things that it says in the parsha. Minan imili. Where do you know this from? The Tanur Rabbanon, because we learned in the Brayso. Kohen Agadol me'echav. It says the kohen who is higher than his brothers. Zeh kohen gadol That's talking about a Kohen Gadol. Shayutak al Rosh Shemen HaMishcha Zem Meshuach Mechama. Umili Yasiyadei Luvash V'Gadim Zem Ruba V'Gadim. Al Kulan Hu Aimer Rosh Lo Yifra V'Gadol Lo Yifraim V'Al Kol Nafshos Meis Lo Yava. Yachal Yu Kulan Makriven Eininim. So you would think that they can all bring the karbanos when they're eininim. Tamalayim Kineza Shemen Mishcha Selekov Allah, the crown of this that he was anointed is on him. Allah v'loyal chavera, it's on him, but not on the other kohen. And now that the pasuk made a differentiation between the kohen mashuach for milchama and the regular kohen, yachal lo yu mitzuva ala b'sula. So you would have thought that he's not mitzuva ala b'sula. So that's why it says v'hu. Right, which means that they both. That's an extra word. I don't know if it's extra, but that word "vahu" is telling you that they both have to marry a basula. So we say katanoi. There's actually machlokes tanoim. It says "vahu isha b'basula yukach," and you should take an isha in her basulam. Achar shecholak hakosov. After the pasuk differentiated riba, then it includes. Divrei Rabbi Shmuel, Rabbi Kiva Omer. Ainly Elishaavar Machmas Kirya, Machmas Mumin Minayan. That's only if he became a Balkari. So he was removed. What about because of Mumin? Tamalai Mar Vahu. So that's why it says Vahu. Okay, so then Bo'amine Roim Ramnach, Mashiach Shenitztara. Mashiach that it became in Hatzaras. Mal Ba'amona. Similar question we had 2 days ago. What's the story? The Mashiach got Tzaras, so he gets downgraded. Now, is he allowed to marry an Amona? Right. So midchidachi, is he pushed off? And Mamela, meaning once he was a Kohen Gadol, that's it. He's done with almanas. A mifter potter, or was he potter when he was when he was an active Kohen Gadol? And now that he's not, so then he is allowed to marry her. Lo have a biyode. So Rab Nachman didn't know the answer. Zimnin have a yasser Rapapa kamoy vayle. So a different time, Rav Papa was sitting and asked the question. Amalei Huna Breder Rachel Rav Papa, Huna Breder Rachel said Rav Papa Tanina. We learned ainly Elishavar Machmas Kirya. We said only Kohen Gadol who became a Balkari. So when he's removed, he's not allowed to marry Amona. Over Machmas Mumin Minayin. And how about if he's removed because of Mumin? Tamalem Ravahu. So therefore it says Vahu. And a tzaras is definitely a mum. So therefore you see that he cannot marry an almana. So come Nashke Beresha, he stood up, he kissed him on his head, V'yavle Barte, and then he married off his daughter. He gave him his daughter in marriage. All right. Fine. Zog the Mishnah. Kohen Gadol, we'll try and get to the bottom of it. Kohen Gadol, Pyrim Elamata. So he said a Kohen Gadol, when he loses a relative, so he tears on the bottom of his shirt. The Hedjim Elamala, and the Hedjim tears on the top. Kohen Gadol, Makriv Einin. A Kohen Gadol brings karbonos when he's in Einin. Einin is from when the death happens till the Levaya. Eloi Eichel, but he doesn't eat. The Hedjit, Eloi Makriv, Eloi Eichel. And the Hedjit is not Makriv karbonos, and he doesn't eat. Some are Rav. So Rav said, Lamata mamish. Lamata means mamish at the bottom of his clothing. Lamala mamish. Lamala means at the top. The Shmuel, Omar lamata mekamei safa. It doesn't mean lamata mamish. It means below the lip. Like, when the opening of a shirt or anything has what do you call it? A seam? Is a seam the right word? I think that's what it would be called. Right, so it means that you should tear the seam. And they're both talking about by the neck. Meaning sometimes you can tear in the middle of the shirt, or do you tear from the edge of the shirt? So those are the two girsai. So we're going to ask kashas now. Meisvei, I'll call Mesim Kula on all Mesim. Ratza Mavdil Kamei Safa Shaloi. If he wants, he could rip from the word Avdallah, separate before the edge. If he wants, then he doesn't. On the father and the mother, he has to mamish tear. Given the ma'alma havi kara, since that's a regular tearing. So Gemara says Kari kan begadol lo yifram. If that's the regular tearing kriya, so then when it says that the kohen gadol shouldn't tear, that's what it's referring to. So how can you say that the kohen could tear that way? So Shmuel Rabbi Yehuda really Shmuel Rabbi Yehuda the Amar kol kerash eina mabdil safa shaloi eina ela karash tiflus, because he holds if you tear something and it doesn't tear from the edge with the seam, I don't know if the seam is the right word, whatever the edge of the garment is, then that's considered a kera shel tiflus. So you want to ask him, huh?
The
Is
hem,
it the hem?
hem is on the edge.
The hem is on the edge. Isn't there something like that goes around? There's a word for it, like I don't know. Whatever. You're right.
I realized hem just before I could get my finger on the right.
Oh, so you agree with him? Okay, so two say it. So we'll go with that. Okay, so Gemara asks again. Amiya says Rabbi Yehuda kriya b'kohen gadol. Does Rabbi Yehuda hold that this kriya by kohen gadol? Vatani will under the brayso. Ilu number roish lo yifra beged lo yifraim. If it would say he should not leave the head with hair, and he shouldn't tear the beged. You see, I'm a baroish u beged shel saita kosim medaber. He said that the pasuk's talking about the head and the clothing of a saita. All right, so that's part of the thing. You also have to tear. The kohen is uncovers her hair, right? That's how we know a woman's supposed to cover her hair, and they tear the clothing, right? And then what is it saying? That the kohen, if there happens to be a site in the Beis Hamikdash, the kohen gadol doesn't deal with that. That's what you would think. That he's not in the priya and prima at all. What it means is that he doesn't tear the clothing the way b'nei adam parmin. He's on the bottom and the head is milamala. Right? But whatever it is, you see that Rabbi Yehuda holds that there's no kriya for a kohen gadol. So how are you saying previously that we go like Rabbi Yehuda, who holds that there's kriya? So Shmuel Savala Rabbi Yehuda b'chada, Palagala b'chada. He holds that like Rabbi Yehuda in one way, that if you tear kriya not from the hem, the kriya is nothing. That he does hold of him, and he disagrees with him in one case. And he says that he's not totally potter from tearing. He has to do it in some form of it. All right, but he should tear, but it shouldn't be mamish like a kriya, like by a parent. Okay, now we start with interesting gemaras. Kol tadim echaveroi. Not that before wasn't interesting, but kol tadim echaveroi kodim echaveroi. Anything that's more common than its friend goes first. Right? That's tadir v'sheina tadir kodim. V'chol ha'mekudesh mechaveroi kodim es chaveroi. And anything that's more kaddish than its friend comes before its friend. Meaning, you go whatever's more kaddish goes first. Para Mashiach or para ha'eda. Let's say you have the par of Mashiach, meaning the kohen gadol's par has to be brought because they made a mistake, and there's also the par of the eda. So para Mashiach kodim, the para eda b'chol ma'asav. The par of the kohen comes before the para eda, which we'll see in tomorrow's daf why that goes first. Maybe who's more chashuv, the eda or the kohen? Okay, so what's going on immediately? How do you know that tadir is first? Amar Abaye, Amar Kra, Mavad Oilas Abayka Shelo Oilas Tamid. Right. This is talking about on Pesach. It says besides for Oilas Atamid, which sounds like the Oilas Tamid came first, which the Oilas Tamid is obviously every day. Lamali. So why do you need this? So Michti Ksiv Oilas Abayka Oilas Atamid Lamali. It says Oilas Abayka. Why do you need to say Oilas Atamid? Right? It's coming to tell you whichever one is more tadir goes first. And that's the anything kaddish comes first.
Is that because of the word tamid?
What?
Because tamid, is that because of the word tamid, which means
so?
consistent? Yeah, it's not stam and midrasha. It's
Oh,
because
you're
of
saying
the-
it's a play on words that the extra word they put in was tamid? Maybe. Yeah, I hear that. Maybe. Okay, so Mignolan. So how do you know that Kaddish comes first? The Tana Devir Bishmal, the Kidashtay. As we know, Kidashtay, that's the pasuk that tells us the Kahanim are holy. The Chol Davar Shabbat, then they go first. The Chol Shabbat the Kedusha. For everything that's in Kedusha, Liftayach Rishon, they get the first Aliyah, Ulevarech Rishon, and they get the first bracha, meaning Birchas Hamazon, Belito Mana Yafa Rishon, and they take the nice Mana Yafa also first. So everything goes first by Kehanim. So anything, so we see from that anything Kaddish goes first, right? That's what Kidashte is saying. Right?
So I always wonder why we get like on Simchas Torah, where you're saying Musaf so much later in the day or other days. Why don't we daven Mincha first then? Because Mincha is Tadir Lagabi Musaf. Unless you say Musaf is more Kodesh.
That's a mission of Shulchan Aruch. Say that you should.
I'm asking on the minhag is not to, right?
Yeah, it's that's a good question. It's a good question.
The
I don't know if
Parsha say
anything.
Yehuda's Yesh al Mi Lismoi.
One second. We
So Machlokes Chachamim and Rabbi Yehuda. If Musaf and Mincha before you, which one comes first? Musaf or Mincha? Do we ignore Tadir or not? Rabbi Yehuda holds we ignore Tadir. And Musaf always comes first. Because Mincha is supposed to be at the end.
How about we discuss this when it comes Sukkot time?
It was in Brachas.
We're discussing Tadir now.
Well, maybe it's right now.
It's a good
Maybe
question for Tadir.
because Musaf is more Kodesh, and that's to be put Musaf ahead.
Who's
is the
not
question
happening before Chatzos?
Maybe it happens on Rosh Hashanah also.
Those people don't care about Shkia either. So what's the difference?
Is this a question of Kaddish versus Tadir? Is that the idea? What comes first, Kaddish versus Tadir?
No. It's Kaddish against not Kaddish and Tadir versus not Tadir.
But what about between the two? One is more Tadir and one is more Kaddish. What do you do?
You would have to have even. They're even in Kedusha and one's more Tadir, so Tadir would come first. Or if they're even in Tadirus and one's more Kaddish, then Kaddish would come first.
No, but could you have a situation where one's more Kaddish and one's more Tadir? And then you have
but either way,
you continuing with the Daf or you're not?
No, we're done. We're done.
Oh, good night, everybody.
Yeah, go ahead.
And we got Kitzer and Tehillim.
And we got. Can you post that? We're gonna say Kitzer, please. We'll do Kitzer.
Michael,
I
there is no
Kitzer was at 10 o'clock was Kitzer.
No. Yeah. So what were you saying?
There is no Shaila, Kedusha versus Tadir. Because if they're the same in Tadirus, if they're just as common as each other, then Kedusha wins. If they're the same in Kedusha, then Tadir wins. There's no case where you don't have one of the two.
Yeah.
You can't have one is more Kaddish and then one is more Tadir?
What
do you mean? What do you do if there's a competition?
Yeah, that's what that's what I thought the question was about the Musaf thing. But that's if it wasn't, then I'm asking that question.
No, it's not the kasha in the Mishnah there.
No, but stop the question. Stop asking the question. What happens?
What if this Cohen shows up more times to shul than the other Cohen? So you give this. So which guy you gonna give first? Is that the kind of shy you're asking?
I don't know if it's possible. I don't know how you gauge. I don't know how you gauge it, but if you could have a situation where there's one is more Kaddish and one is more Tadir, then how do you do it?
Oh, that's what you're saying. I think some want to teach. The halacha says when a Talmud Chacham and a Kohen want the first Aliyah, the Talmud Chacham comes first. I'll just say the Kohen comes first. The Kohen on the Aretz is before Talmud Chacham, or Talmud Chacham is before Kohen on the Aretz. That's the way they teach it.
So who
The
wins?
Kohen's
Meaning,
Talmud Chacham's got the Tadiras in Torah.
no, that's exactly the example. So Cohen is more Tadir, but the Talmud Chacham is more Kadosh.
No, Kohen is more in Kaddish because it says V'Kiddashtem. The Talmud Chacham is more Tadir because he learns all the time. He's Tadir in mitzvahs, Torah mitzvahs.
And they say you go with Kadosh.
Well, I don't know. There's Kohen on board still. I think Ikar Adin, I think, is that the Talmud Chacham comes first.
I don't know how this practically works out. I just wanted to raise the question.
Okay, let's say Tillim. Yud Gimel. L'mnatzech Mizbala David. Adona Adonet Tishkucheni Netzach. Adona Tasir Spanecha Mimeni. Adona Asher Seisas Benafshi Yogam Bava Yom Hador Yom Oivel Pita Nena Elenoi Ira Ena Penisha Namamas Ben Yom Oivi Yacholta Yagil Tzara Yagilu Kiyamoit Ani Bechas Tachavantachti Yagel Livi Vishu Asacha Shirula Lenoi Kigamal Aloi Chenuka Beis Yisrael and Asama Sama Shiva Enda Mema Yom Vima Rosham Alkaim Rachem Aliyam Yatem Tzal Racha Umeyafela Lea Ira Umashiba the Gula Hashtaba Agalav Zman Kariv and Imar Romain. Okay. Suras Taivas.
Yashikoyach Hagitavach.
A good Tvach and a good Yar.
A good Vach, a good Yar. That's all
Yeah.
Rabbi.
Amen. You got enough guys on?